Welcome. I've been a photographer now for about 10, 11 years, and I started as a documentary photographer. I wanted to do classic photojournalism, you know, in the ways of Cartier-Bresson, Sebastião Salgado, Eugene Smith, and all the great Magnum photographers. But over the years, I started to fall in love with other areas of photography, especially portrait. So I might say now that I know a little bit about making good portraits, and we're going to talk a lot about that as well. But as my first set of photographs I'd like to share with you and to tell you a little bit of the story behind it and all the technical details of it, it's a piece on travel photography that I did for an airline magazine, Brazilian airline magazine called Go. And matter of fact, this just came out. This is going at exactly this time where we're recording this. This is on the airplanes right now. This is February 2018. And this is a story on an area in Portugal called Alentejo. And it was a great time. It was an incredible place to photograph. You know, the light is amazing. Everything is beautiful about this place. But let me start asking you, how would you approach something like that? You know, for many people, this is a dream to get paid to travel overseas and just to photograph, right? I know that a lot of you want to do that as well. I mean, I wanted to do that. That was one of my goals. I went to some crazy places in this past 10 years. I think I've been photographing more than 50 countries. Some of them I went with my own money, just because I knew I would get good photographs. Some others I was paid to go there, and that was great, you know? That was great, to do something that you love so much and make a living out of it, you know, and a good living. And so I want to take this example right now, which is my latest. And so my question is, how would you approach? The phone rings, somebody is on the other side saying, "Hey, we love your work and we would like to send you to Portugal. There's this little area there called Alentejo, and we would like you to capture the beauty of the place, but also to have a feeling of what it is to be there, you know, for those who are not there." So that's what I'd like to share with you now, some of the photographs and how I did that, how I translated that experience. So this is the photos. Let me see. We have 39 photographs here. These are the photos these are my final, right? My final edit that I sent to my client. We spent 9 days in this place, right? And I probably took around 3,000 photos with my Sony A7R Mark II. Most of them with this lens right here, the Canon 1635. f2.8. I use a Canon lens with a Sony camera, and to make them both talk, I use the Metabones adapter. We're gonna talk more about these details in another episode, I guess. But right now, let's just talk on the photos. So 9 days, 3,000 photographs. That's a lot of photographs, but that's the luxury of digital, right? You can just shoot away and pray that you have something nice, right? Wrong. You can shoot away, but you don't need to pray to get something nice. You just need to know the best time, the best place, and what do you need. Maybe you need something that you don't have in that moment, and you know it's going to be a good photograph. So what do? You get prepared. You prepare yourself, and that's half of what it's needed to make a good photograph, right? Sometimes it's just a matter of luck, and you need to welcome luck. Luck is great. Sometimes you just don't have luck, and you need to make an effort to make your own luck. So yeah, let's start this. Let's start with this photograph. This was the very first day when we got there. And as you see, it's just a square, and there's a church in the background. We can see there's a church right there. And there's nothing going on. And look at this, 13. That's the time of the day, 1 p.m. And I tell you, this is the worst time of the day to be photographing at. I'm gonna repeat this over and over and over. But there I was. I didn't know if I would go back there, so let's photograph. So what am I looking to make something a little bit more interesting out of this? You know, it's pretty much noon, worst light, nothing going on, just a square with very few people walking by. And I'm using my Sony 7R, you can see right here. I have another lens, the 24-70. I'm using a shutter 1/1250, aperture 6.3. Well, I can just tell you right away my approach when I'm in the situation where the light is not so great, which is this noon time of the day, right? Why the light is not so great? Because it's very white. It's super cool. It's around 6,000 Kelvin, which is not so great. When you think of a beautiful sunlight, we always tend to think of when it's like golden, right? And golden, we're talking about 2,500 Kelvin, 3,000 Kelvin. Here is just plain white, and it's super top light. So everybody's like this, you know, the shadows in everyone's eyes and faces are not so great as well. When we talk about the beginning of the day and the end of the day, the light is a lot more sideways, right? So the shadows are more complementary to everyone's faces. So what do I do? Just to make a little bit, try to make a little bit more interesting, I just consciously underexpose the shot, right? So what I did here, I just go into an aperture a lot smaller than what the camera was telling me a good exposure was. So I'm probably 2 to 3 stops underexposed here in order to make the shadows really dark, almost pitch black, and make my sky also very, very dark blue. So then I can play with shadows like this thing here. I can play with the silhouette of the people walking by. And then it becomes a lot more of an exercise in geometry, you know, in composing with this block here, with another block there. We're not talking so much anymore about, oh, there's a church and there's people. Light is not great. I might come back. If I really like this place, I might come back another day. But I'm here, now. Let's try to make something interesting out of this. So this is a good exercise, you know. Bring your camera to the limits and underexpose the hell of it. Sometimes overexpose it a lot more, you know, and see what you get. This is a good practice to think out of the box as well. So you don't need so much to look for, oh, what's the great exposure here? What's the best light? You just go in and try not to see so much what you're photographing, but more like the forms, the geometry of it. So yeah, I'm in this place, not much going on. I might come back. I might say, hey, this is because you might be in a place in a city where you know that's the most famous part of it. I don't know. Say you were in New York and you want to photograph Central Park or Times Square. And you get there, light is not so great, but you know, hey. And then you look at your watch and you say, hey, I'm gonna come back tomorrow at this exact same time and I'm gonna make some great photography here. So this is a good exercise, you know, when you have not so much going on for you, you just find a way, you know, underexpose everything and try to make an interesting image out of silhouette and shapes. So this was my very first photograph on this day, on this job, and was a good warm-up. Was a good warm-up exercise. Guys, that's it for this very first episode. I will be very happy to share a lot more of these photographs with you. And I have, believe me, I have a lot of them. And I'm not only going to talk about travel photography. I like to think that I'm an image maker, you know? Be the image being motion, things are moving and I'm filming. Be a still photography, be travel photography, be portraits. We're going to talk about a lot about that. But welcome again to this place and come back where we're going to have a lot more. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can always know and so I can always let you know when new stuff is coming up. Thank you and bye.